but the sword is perfectly secure.
Hello there my RPG lovers and welcome to another video. My love for RPG games started long ago when I felt the freedom that these games can offer to the player. Back then my underdeveloped juvenile brain thought that I have unlimited options while playing these games. Once you get used to a certain game or a game type, you start looking for similar features in every other game that you play. That's one of the reasons why I really love multiple options while doing quests in RPGs, and we're gonna talk about this specific questing system that I consider to be amazing. Elex is an open world action RPG that came out in late 2017. Now let's start with getting this out of the way. Regardless of what you think about this game, we're here to talk about this specific feature. I won't waste any time to try and convince you why I think this game is really good in general despite its problems. You might share the same opinion and you love Elex, that's great, or you might hate it for being clunky, which is fine as well. But hear me out here. The questing system and the options you'll get while solving quests are really well put together, and I think more RPGs should consider implementing similar systems. I'm gonna talk about a few specific quests, so you can see what I mean exactly, but first there are some stuff you need to know. The studio behind this game, Piranha Bytes, has been doing this with every game they've made. Even quests in Gothic 1 and Gothic 2 functioned like this, which is one of the reasons why those games are considered to be one of the best RPGs ever made. You always had an amazing freedom of choice, not only while exploring these worlds, but while doing quests as well. Almost every quest in this game can be done in multiple ways, and even if you completed the game, you could easily miss a lot of these options. But this is not just simple as skill checks that let you select different dialogue options. By the way, this game have skill checks as well, just so you know. The quests I'm gonna talk about are not that significant for the main story at all. You can do them really early in the game, so you don't have to worry about spoilers that much. In the city of Goliath there are a lot of quests that you can take just by talking to the people, but there are also quests that can be completed or just triggered by accident. This is how most quests always worked in Piranha Bytes games, and it feels more real to me than always having to trigger a quest by talking to someone. It gives you the feeling like the world is not revolved around you. The bad side about this, it can be a bit confusing sometimes, but if you do enough exploring and talk to every NPC that you meet, you'll be fine. And this brings us to the first quest example. Once you arrive in Goliath, there's a shady NPC called Ulrich that you can talk to. He can give you a couple of quests, and one of them is called a special piece. He tells you that he really wants a special sword that belongs to Ragnar, who is basically the boss of this place. It's pretty straightforward, you need to steal this item from Ragnar's room. The sword hangs on the wall, and in order to get it, you'll need to sneak past the guard who is patrolling the room. When you succeed, you can go back to Ulrich and sell him the sword for a lot of money. Now let's take a look at every possible option you have while doing this quote-unquote simple fetch quest. Remember how I told you that you don't need to trigger certain quests? Well, even if you don't talk to Ulrich about this quest, or if you just don't meet this NPC at all, you can still stumble upon this room with a sword just by exploring. I mean, it's there and you probably see it, so you wanna steal it, right? I'm really hoping I'm not the only one who thinks like this. Anyway, when you pick it up, you will see that you completed the quest. Naturally, you would get confused a little bit because you don't remember having this quest at all. If you check the completed mission tab, you can see that it only gives you a hint that someone would pay a hefty price for this item. So it won't tell you exactly who you need to find in order to actually finish the quest completely. This adds a bit of mystery to the quest, and you would probably be interested to learn who that person is. Now, if you talk to Ulrich, even without mentioning this special quest, you will probably remember that he's the NPC that you need. Note that you need to talk to him quite a bit to trigger this certain quest, because it's slightly hidden in the dialogue options. So you can get this sword by working for Ulrich or just by accident while you're exploring. But once the sword is in your possession, there's a couple of options. If you had the quest to get it for Ulrich, you would probably just give it to him. If not, you will try to find the NPC by talking to everyone, or just keep the sword for yourself and use it once you have enough stats. But check this out, nowhere is mentioned that you can actually talk to Ragnar once you have the sword. Would you talk to the guy that you just robbed? Probably not. And naturally, he will accuse you for stealing, but here's what happens.
You stole it from me?
If I'd stolen it, I wouldn't be giving it back.
You know what you have there? That sword is irreplaceable. It belonged to Eric Eisenfaust. He did well in bringing this to me. It doesn't bear thinking what its loss would have meant. You have my thanks, and the thanks of all true berserkers.
This is a great option if you want to join this faction and he will remember this favor that you did for him. If you didn't talk to Ulrich, that would be the end of this quest. You found the sword by accident, gave it back to the owner and got some reputation. Everyone's happy, right? However, if you brought the sword to Ulrich, the next time you talk to Ragnar, he'll say this.
And don't think the fact that Eisenfaust's sword disappeared at the point you arrived has gone unnoticed. I can't prove anything, but suspicions don't always have to be proven.
One more option you have that no one tells you about is after you accept the quest from Ulrich. If you talk to Ragnar then, without stealing the sword, you can tell him this.
Someone wants to steal Eric Eisenfaust's sword.
There are many people who want to steal it, but the sword is perfectly secure.
Are you certain of that?
Eisenfaust's sword is one of our most precious artifacts. Of course I'd keep it secure.
But it's a shame that this part is kinda underdeveloped. You could maybe be a snitch and tell Ragnar who's exactly trying to steal it. All this for one totally optional quest that you might take from this guy, find by accident or miss completely. Oh yeah, or keep the sword for yourself. Now let's compare a similar quest in Skyrim, for example. Emran from Whiterun tells you to go and get his family sword from the bandits. The only option you have here are due to RNG locations or Radiant story mechanic. You get the sword, give it to him and never think twice about it. It maybe sounds like I'm bashing Skyrim here, and I am, even though I love it. But I would like to see a similar quest design in other RPGs, especially for the side missions like this. I mentioned in my previous video that it seems like developers are too afraid of making content that is slightly hidden. This quest system encourages players to think out of the box, give you more options while you play and replay value. Okay, I'm gonna stop now. And what about you? Do you agree with me? Or you think this is bullshit for some reason and why? Leave a comment down below. What game had the best questing system according to your opinion and why? I don't specifically think about the quality of the quest or the narrative of it, but just the options and the freedom you have while you're doing quests. Anyway, don't forget to subscribe for more content. I do in-depth guides, news and reviews. Click on the bell icon so you don't miss any future uploads. Special thanks to my patrons and YouTube exclusive members, and if you as well want to become one of them, all the links are in the description. See ya in the next one.